Welcome to the Biz Bash podcast, where we make biz strategy a piece of cake. I'm Elizabeth.
And I'm Cami, but you might know us better as Eliza and Calligraphy and Cami Monet. We want to help you, our fellow stationers, artists, and calligraphers, confidently build a profitable and personality-driven creative biz.
We're here to share our honest-to-goodness advice and actionable strategies for ambitious artists.
So put on your party hat, quit being a procrastinator gator, and let's get this party started. Hey y'all, welcome back to the Biz Bash podcast. This is episode 21 and you're here with Cami and Elizabeth. Obviously, it's our podcast, so of course we'd be here. But anyway, today we are talking about investing in your business, and not like investing in the stock market and putting money back into things, but like investing in yourself so you can grow your business and what that looks like. Basically, why you need to keep on learning and be a perpetual student, like a constant learner of everything in your biz. You just don't want to stop learning things. So we obviously know about a ton of awesome resources out there for small businesses. We have some. Hopefully you guys are using them because they're legit. And we're going to be talking about the things that we invested in our business, why we chose those things, how they moved our business forward, and the importance of why you might need to spend some money and actually take the time to actually do these things and not just let them sit there after you buy them, or don't buy them at all because you can't afford them. But we're going to talk to you about why you can't afford to not afford them. But first, before we dive into all this, Elizabeth's going to read a review.
Yay, so excited. I love this one. It's from Ashley Lynn Photo. And she says, love it, 5 stars. I'm not a calligrapher, but I'm a wedding photographer, and I still find this podcast stock full of little gems of advice that I can put towards my own business. I appreciate Cami and Elizabeth's realness and honesty when it comes to being a small business owner. Keep the podcast coming, girls.
Woohoo!
And I love that one too, because I've heard from more and more people that aren't necessarily in our industry, but are still getting stuff out of it, which makes me excited, because obviously we're here to talk to the stationers, designers, calligraphers, watercolor artists, etc. But it makes Cami and I really happy that, that it can apply to a lot of different people in their creative businesses.
Yeah, I've actually gotten quite a few Instagram messages from other photographers who are like, oh, I'm not an artist or whatever, but I love listening. Like, I still find something I can take away. So that makes me very happy. We're going worldwide, people, international.
Oh my gosh. But other fun thing though is we've definitely surpassed 20,000 downloads by now. In fact, by the time this episode will release, it'll probably be quite a bit more than that. I would imagine another couple thousand or so.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we're just that awesome.
Pretty cool. We're still not sure what a download is technically,
but we like to know the numbers. So.
But we like to think that means people are pushing play in one way or another.
Yeah, Apple is so weird. They don't release like any stats. Like, you don't get to find out how many subscribers you have, which makes me so sad. I want to know. Like, why can't you tell me?
In some ways, I think it might be kind of smart, Cami, on their end, because then others don't get discouraged from starting podcasts if they see that, it would be nice to see it on our end. But I guess from their viewpoint, it's not that like social competition.
From our end. Yeah, I don't care if they show up publicly like followers. I would just like to know on our end because it would just be helpful. Yeah. But anyway, that's not important. Today we're talking about investing in your business, as I mentioned before. So why is it so important to start investing in your business? Like, I could go on a serious tangent rant all day on this. Like, that's really something I'm really passionate about. So I'm just going to dive in. But you really need to start gaining the skills and knowledge that can take your biz where you want it to be. And you can only do this by continually learning and not just, sitting at home and playing Candy Crush like I do sometimes. So your business is going to remain stuck unless you invest in continual learning. So having that education is critical, and you really want to become this lifelong learner of your craft. Like, everything you do, you don't get better at it by just staying stagnant. Like, you always are pushing for improvement. And I think so many times in our business, we kind of get complacent and we're like, oh, it's going fine. There's no reason to like invest in a course or listen to another podcast or read a book or something, because you're doing fine. But what if you could be doing better than fine? There's always something you can take away from something, even if you feel like you don't necessarily need it.
Yeah, I agree. I would say I was very timid at first about like what I should invest in, what I shouldn't invest in. And obviously it's up to your own discretion within your business. We always say there's like never a right fit, you know, for everyone. It's to each their own type of thing. But I was really cautious at first with buying things because I wasn't even sure at the beginning of my business like what I really needed. Does that make sense?
When I was like buying courses starting out with my business, I wasn't cautious about it all. Like I would invest in anything. I was like, I need to know this. I need to learn this. And I think I listened to every creative business podcast out there. Like, and I always listen to them at 2 times the speed because double the knowledge, less time. You know what I'm saying? So I was just like,
I feel like if people ever listened to ours at 2 times the speed, it'd be way too crazy.
Because I get real excited, especially because I'm having my coffee right now. It's getting hype up in here. Okay. But yeah, like there are these resources out there that were literally made and designed to show you how to grow your business and all these questions that you're already asking, like how to price your work, how to do XYZ, like the stuff you're asking in Facebook groups. There probably is a course or a resource that exists for that. So why not go invest in that instead of just, you know, asking a question to get a validation from 8,000 different people with different opinions. So like, here's my thing. If you want to be the best, you need to learn from the best. And sometimes that means spending some of your hard-earned money, but you're not really spending the money where it gets lost. It's considered a long-term investment. Like think about the ROI you're going to get from learning how to price your work appropriately, where you are making a substantial profit and not just like a tiny little profit where you're just getting by, but like a profit that's going to continually grow your business and still have stuff set aside where you can invest in it to keep reaping those benefits.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you and I have invested in different things throughout the years at different stages in our businesses for completely different reasons. But I know that you and I kind of jumped in pretty early on Modern Calligraphy Summit. That was kind of like the first one that we both bought.
Like, okay, so when we started our business three years ago, Modern Calligraphy Summit was like, if you don't not get Modern Calligraphy Summit, like, who are you even? Like, everyone had Modern Calligraphy Summit. I think we all invested in that, especially like, there's just like a wave of stationers that started at that time, and like we all were in Modern Calligraphy Summit. So
it's so true.
Both of us, I know we both haven't watched all of our videos, which is totally fine. But I was only interested in the digitizing course from Modern Calligraphy Summit because I knew nothing about that, and I knew that I knew nothing, and so that was like my kickstart kind of crash course into learning the basics of Photoshop and digitizing my work. And then from there, it just became like learning and figuring out my own tips and tricks. But like that course was indispensable to me. Like that really put my business in the right spot. And if I didn't have that I invested in from the get-go, I would have spent months, you know, trying to learn this on my own when I could have just taken that course. So to me, that investment has paid itself out like, you know, 100 times over, more than that even, you know, like.
Yeah. And more important than anything, I think at the time too, like that was really the only resource out there. Like if you were a creative in this field that was going to teach you kind of next steps. Granted, they didn't do a ton of like the business side. It was more of the creative side of things. But at that point, that was just what I was trying to learn, you know, the same thing for me. Like I wanted to understand how to digitize, how to do these basic art things in my business. I actually kind of want to figure out how to like log in and go back to those. I know we were trying to figure out how to log in a couple weeks ago and having difficulty.
I know. So once we actually figure out how to get back in there, then I do want to watch some of these courses again. Like I'd love to watch some of the calligraphy ones and just like, I don't know, maybe I feel like pointed pen calligraphy is almost like a side hobby, would be a side hobby for me, like not to do in my business, but just like to do for fun. Like, you know,
just
I think I would like that. And it wouldn't be as stressful because I wouldn't have to offer it to a client. I could just do it for myself.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Very different. Basically, what it comes down to is courses and online materials that you invest in can be an awesome source of inspiration. They challenge you with new experiences, new ways to do things, new sources of information, and it keeps you from becoming lazy in your business because it's going to keep new ideas flowing for you. And it's going to make you kind of keep asking questions, you know, to like light that curiosity, to be eager to learn something new, and just to dig deeper and separate yourself from everyone else out there. Cultivating your mind is critical. I love that. Cami wrote that down as a note.
Yeah. And this is the thing, like, we're all so busy, like all of us, we all have way too much crap going on. But this is one area where the self-starters get ahead, because they do see the benefit of having resources, knowledge, information in place that lets them do their job quicker, more efficiently, and can turn that around and make more money with it. Like, they have that competitive edge of wanting to learn more and prioritizing that daily growth. Whereas if you're just complacent in your biz, you are gonna fall behind. And I know that sounds like really harsh, but the people who are investing in their biz, they are going to stay one step ahead of the game, because they're able to quickly pivot, quickly adapt, because they know the ins and outs of the industry. They know business principles. They know how they're pricing their work. They know where to find clients, and they learned it from people who are already doing these things. So, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I love this. Yeah, I love what you wrote down too, like these two types of learning. You should cover that.
Oh, yeah. So investing in your business is not just about like the knowledge. There's two types of learning that I think you should invest in. So one is the knowledge type of learning, which is reading, listening, watching a course, learning those business skills, learning, how to do your finances, all that kind of stuff. And then skill-based, which is literally picking up your paintbrush, practicing your artwork, practicing calligraphy, practicing how to tie the perfect bow, staining your wood signs, all those kinds of things. So knowledge and skill-based, and you really need both of these things to have that competitive edge. Like, if you have amazing skills, but you don't have the entrepreneur side, the knowledge to back them up, you're not going to be able to market those appropriately. Whereas you need that talent and those skills. Like, I don't even think you need talent. You just need skills and practice time, the hours put in. So you have like this amazing, what am I trying to say here? Product from all the learning you've done. Like, what is it? You need 10,000 hours of doing something to become an expert. Like, so I would need 10,000 painting hours to become an expert. Like, I think my dad is an expert. He definitely has 10,000 hours.
You don't think you've hit what? Where do you think you are on that scale?
I'm trying to think. Maybe I have hit 10,000. No, I'm probably like another 3,000 off. Who knows? No, I actually need to think about it. Like,
you should actually,
that's like a lifetime.
Kind of get a rough idea.
Yeah, like a lifetime of learning. Like, I think in like 5 years.
It is. Okay, let me see. I'm going to
do some math, because
let's do some math.
I honestly can't even think.
There's 24 hours in a day and 365 days a year. Okay, so there's 8,760 hours in a year. So you would have to spend like literally that entire year painting to even try to get close. I would say maybe. So
I'd say like,
how much of your daily time?
I'd say like 15 to 20 years. 15 years of painting would make you an expert.
So like, yeah, well, but so you might be there, right? But I mean, I guess you haven't painted intensely.
I haven't painted intensely for 15 years. Like, yeah, I've been painting since I was 3, but like, what am I doing when I'm 3? I'm not like learning master techniques over here. You know what I mean? Like,
okay, so let's say if you paint 2 hours a day on average.
That's still, 2 hours a day on average.
So that's 700. Okay, so that's 730 hours. So you're right. It would take like more than 10 years to get to that point of having 10,000.
Yeah, don't ever invest in a math class from us, you guys. Just word to the wise.
But it is interesting to think about, though, that like I would say, because we have access to these online courses and these resources,
you can skip some years.
It almost maybe like it's not exactly the same, especially with like a skill like that, like your actual skill-based calligraphy, painting. You can't really hit the easy button on that. But in terms of like that knowledge, reading, listening, watching a course, like you don't need 10,000 hours to become a bookkeeping expert. You can understand that in a matter of like videos or articles or things that you read. Like it's helped speed things up for us because we have access to resources.
Yeah. And even though I feel like I have a good grip on, the behind the scenes stuff in my business, I can still go watch a free webinar, listen to a podcast, invest in a course, and there'll be something I can take away and be like, oh, okay, that was mind blowing for me. Here's one thing. Like even if you get one thing from it that makes your business more efficient and run better and makes it more profitable and successful, then like, hey, you're doing good. Like anything that can save me time. I love learning about that. Like like, you don't have to start from scratch and like completely copy, or not copy, but like take on someone else's resource guide and then be like, okay, I'm going to do everything exactly like this. It's more like you take in what's working for them, and then you can just be like, oh, okay, now I'm going to look at it from my perspective and use it for my business. Like any course you invest in, you might not do the pricing the same way, but at least you have the principles in place and the foundation of it all. Does that make sense? I feel like I just went off on a...
No, it is. It does make sense because it's the same thing. That's kind of the same thing we say about wedding invitation etiquette. It's like understand the rules and then you can break them like as they fit for you or as they fit for your client.
Yeah.
And we're honestly making up our own rules the majority of the time anyways, because we're our own bosses. So we have to make a million decisions a day, and just like do it sometimes. But guys, I'm learning every day. Like I'm constantly Googling stuff. I mean, like Cammie and I were having technical problems with the podcast. What were we doing? We were Googling, like trying to figure it out. So like the learning just never stops. Like I'm always Googling stuff. I just am.
Okay, guys. So there are seasons in your business where you need to be a sponge and just take in as much knowledge as you possibly can. Like I know my first year of business, I was freaking SpongeBob SquarePants. Like I was taking all the courses, listening to all the podcasts, 2 times the speed because half the time, double the knowledge, you know what I'm saying? Reading all the business books, like anything I get my hands on, because I wanted to learn how to have a successful business. And I knew I needed to put in the time and sometimes the money in order to get there. So here's the thing. Once you take in as much as you possibly can handle, then it's time to like squeeze out the sponge. You know what I'm saying? So some stuff will work, some stuff won't. So you're not going to get every little drop of water out of the sponge, but it's important that you're aware of all the strategies so you can perceptively filter what will work for you and your biz, and then just tweak and repeat. Like there are seasons where I'm still going to go through like, every couple months, maybe where I'm like, okay, I need to learn how to do this stuff. And then you kind of like let it all out. And then it's like, okay, what else do I need to learn? I need to learn how to do this, and then like let it all out again. So like just going through those cycles of learning and then implementing is huge. Like after all these courses, these classes that we're taking, we're basically just taking a class to getting our master's in entrepreneurship or creative businesses. Like we didn't go to college to learn how to do all these creative things or be an entrepreneur. Like that just didn't exist as a major. I mean, maybe it did, that'd be awesome. So consider this like you're just working towards getting your master's degree by investing in these classes.
Yeah, I agree with everything you said there. But I also my approach to education in the beginning was a little different. And I don't know if this is because I'm stubborn, which I am a stubborn person. But at the beginning, I've actually, when I look at my trend of like what I've invested in and purchased, at the beginning, it was Modern Calligraphy Summit. And I don't think for like 2 years at least, I touched anything else. I know that sounds crazy, but I think I was like so immersed in trying to like learn my own way in terms of wood signs, and creating YouTube videos. And like I realized I had a passion really quickly for creating content and sharing with other people. So I wasn't doing so much of that like soaking in, like the sponge, unless it was like talking to you, talking to somebody else, talking strategy in that regard. Yeah. And I've like made more pointed investment decisions later in my business. Well, but that's why I love us, because we're different.
Yeah, but then you actually know what you need, because I may have bought a ton of courses, but some of them I was like, well, this is not helpful. I already know all this, or I didn't even watch them, like that's how we are different, because me, I'm just like, give me everything, I gotta know it all, like it's fine. And then you're like, well, I'm gonna think about it first. So.
Yeah, that's true, because I just think there was a place that I reached where I was almost so overwhelmed, where I couldn't even like listen to a podcast without being overwhelmed, where I just kind of had to sit down and say, okay, what do I feel like I need to do in my business right now before I welcome outside voices in? And like I said, I had people I could confide in, like you, my husband, my dad, people I could talk to and ask questions and bounce things off of them. But I was also like a huge YouTube advocate. I don't know. I did like a ton of stuff through YouTube. I think I had Skillshare for a little while. So I didn't do like a full constructed course at the beginning. I mean, like we talked about earlier, like I haven't made it through MCS yet.
Yeah. I mean, there wasn't any type of course at the beginning that outlined every part of, how to run a stationery business or whatever. Like now those resources do exist, but before it was like Modern Calligraphy Summit was like the bread and butter for everything, even though it wasn't necessarily business focused. So what do you think has been a course, that has helped you the most?
Well, let's see. So I want to say that the first like really big course that I finally decided to invest in was actually last fall. So I guess maybe like early December, because I'm finally getting to the point where I'm like, okay, I do know a lot about Adobe programs, Illustrator, and Photoshop. But there are ways that I could continue to touch up my skills and get better at this. And this is something I'm interested in getting better at. And Kelsey from Paper and Oats has a design class called the InDesign Field Guide, specifically for InDesign. And I was super interested in learning more about InDesign because that's a program you use for really text-heavy things. So if I were to like redo my pricing guide or make some sort of printed like workbook or document for my business, that's what I would want to be doing it in. In fact, the calligraphy workshop planning guide was designed in InDesign after I took this course. So I bought the InDesign Field Guide early December. I think that was a $500 investment. And I still have to make it through all the sessions, but I think like consumed the majority of it. So that's been like one of the most helpful to date for me personally. Oh, and I talked about this in our email marketing episode. Spruce Road has she has a course for ConvertKit. It's like the ConvertKit mini class or something like that, where she teaches you to design your ConvertKit email in your header, and that was like probably the best $49 I've ever spent on anything. Yeah, it was awesome.
Yeah, I think my favorite course that I invested in was just like this mini class, and it was $99, and it was called Creative Writing for the Internet, and it had nothing to do with stationery or anything like that. But man, I loved this class. It was from a copywriter, and I literally decided at the very last minute to like, it was like 30 minutes before it went live, and she's like, last chance to buy it. I was like, I'm doing it. And then I sat there and watched like the whole 3-hour thing, did like the on-air homework, like was so invested in it, and I loved it. And I really think it helped me, with finding my internet voice, I guess, even though I feel like I had a good handle on that, but it just makes it more fun. And I really enjoyed it. I really enjoy the art of writing. So that was really cool. And then the best like bang for your buck class I ever did was the Trello for Business course from, they're not Think Creative Collective, Boss Project. Their Trello for Business course is like $29, and they give you all their Trello boards. And if you are wanting to use Trello, like this is a great place to start. It's like, I can't believe how cheap it is. Like, it's amazing.
Do you still use Trello for your business, or was that more at the beginning?
It goes in waves. Like, I still use it for organizing a lot of custom projects, but yeah, I don't use it for wedding invitations as much. I think I go through waves on it, but still can be super helpful. Like,
right, but for $29, it's like worth it.
$29, it's worth it to even see. Like, if you have no idea how to use Trello, like getting the boards alone, like where you can just copy and paste their boards for $29 was like totally worth it to me. It was a great course for sure.
Yeah, I'm trying to think other things. So the most expensive one I bought, switching gears, because we just talked about like best bang for your buck type of thing, is I invested in Immersion, which is Bonnie Christine's surface pattern design course. And that's like one of those courses where it gets released every week. So it's like 8 weeks of content being released. And for the first, was it like 4 or 5 weeks, I want to say, I was really good about dedicating every single Monday, like literally my entire Monday, to pursuing the content in that course, because, oh my gosh, it strengthened my Illustrator design skills so much. It taught me so much about Illustrator like I didn't know. And I've always loved patterns. And if I could license those someday, I was like, I would be so into that. And so it was more of like a futuristic purchase for my business. Like, even though I might not be using it right in this moment, I want to have those skills so if I decide to pursue that field, like I kind of have this in my pocket, you know?
Yeah, and I love it because I know this is like a perfect example of investing in your business can like reignite creativity, because you've sent me all these patterns that you've done and you're just like so excited about it, and I can see you're like, oh, I'm really passionate about this. I didn't realize, like, and it also is like, okay, maybe in the future I could do this other offering for my business. It's really cool. And like without that, having those skills under your belt with the new ways of doing surface pattern, you probably wouldn't have been thinking so much about it. So yeah, it's it's definitely cool to see like it tangibly taking root in your business. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, it teaches you everything from like basic principles in Illustrator to designing patterns to the business side of it. Like, holy cow, it's packed. And that course was $997, I think. But I kind of like reallocated funds, quote unquote.
Yeah.
Because I was investing in a business coach like for the first part of 2019. And I honestly kind of take blame for this. I chose somebody outside of the creative industry, and at the end of the day, it wasn't the right fit. Like, even though I loved her, I admire her so much. She's a really like great person and a great coach. It wasn't the right fit. So we parted ways, and I was like, well, I have this money that I was going to be spending on coaching that now like I'm going to invest in this instead. So that was kind of like a decision I made, especially, I mean, she got me because it's like one of those things where they don't open registration again till next February. And I was like, I do not want to wait a year for this content. Like, I want it now.
Yeah, that's how I was with the Paper Camp e-course. Like, I think she released it like twice a year or something. And I was like, I have to do this now. Like, yeah. And I made it a point to do the live Q&A sessions and like take everything week by week, from by the book, and just like treat it like any other time commitment, like make it an appointment with yourself. Like, absolutely. You gotta treat yourself in your business. And sometimes these new courses like definitely feel like a total treat,
Yeah, they really do.
Yeah.
In like so many different ways. And yeah, it gets you super excited. It kind of helps you come up with ideas. I mean, part of the reason that the calligraphy workshop planning guide came to life the way it did was because of the InDesign field guide that I took through Kelsey. Like, I don't think it would have manifested itself in the same way if it hadn't been for that course. And I actually like was so proud. I was like the proud student. I like sent her a copy of it and everything so she could see what I had done. And she ended up like asking for my review of the course so she could use it on her sales page and stuff, which I was more than happy to provide, because I become like your biggest fan and ambassador if you like do something that I love. I just like won't shut up about it. Like, honestly, I need affiliate links for all of these, but it's fine.
That creative writing for the internet class I took, I also sent in a review, and then they were like, can we use this? And I was like, yes, because when you get so excited, of course you're going to talk about it. And I had to send her a picture of my armadillo card because she talked about like ironclad armadillos or something. I don't know. It was like, creative writing. We talked about armadillos, and I was like, well, have I got a dillo for you? Look at this holiday card. And it just turned into this whole thing. She was like,
did she end up buying it?
No, she didn't buy it. I was like, you have to see this. I feel like you would appreciate it because we had this thing about armadillos. You guys know I get weird about armadillos. I don't know.
Yeah, they're kind of your like animal obsession.
I know. Did you see those armadillo vintage stamps I posted on my stories? Because I'm about to go order like 50.
I feel like I probably did at some point.
Yeah. Well, I'll write you a letter and put one on there. So.
Oh, yay. That sounds good. I love getting snail mail.
I know. It's the best.
We need a P.O. box so people can send us stuff.
Oh, my gosh. Okay. Jotting that down, because how fun would that be? Like, of course we need that. We're stationers. But, okay. Another thing I want to talk about courses, though, I invested in a ton of stuff at the beginning, and I did not watch all the things, so don't fall into the trap of feeling like you have to buy every single thing that comes your way. Like, you really do need to decide if it's a good fit for your business, and how you're going to use it to not just buy it, because here's the thing, you guys, this might be a truth bomb, but buying a course doesn't necessarily mean you're going to get those skills. You actually have to watch it and implement it.
Yes,
I know. I think some people just collect courses like they're badges of honor, and if you don't actually do the thing, then nothing comes from it, and now you're just spending money, which doesn't seem like super smart.
Not super productive. I know that Amy Porterfield, for some of her really big courses, she requires you to like show that you've done homework if you're asking for a refund.
Yeah.
So you can't just like buy it and a month later be like, oh, I didn't use it, I want my money back. She's like, no, I want to see like the proof that you actually tried.
Yeah, that's so smart.
Yeah, it's definitely a good strategy. I mean, when you create a course, Cammie and I can say this as people who have like created education,
courses. Yeah.
that you like put a lot of your heart in it, and that's why I think that's why, Cammie, like the past 6 months, I've really gotten more comfortable with investing, because I'm like, we put our heart and souls into the content that we create for Biz Birthday Bash. And these people that I trust as creatives, like, I know they're doing the same thing. So, like, a couple weeks ago, I bought Vanessa Kine's Pin Progress course. I don't know if you saw that she was, like, advertising that. But that was one of those things where the clock was ticking down. So I, like, snatched it up. But I didn't even buy it for me. I bought it for my VA so that she can learn.
Yeah.
I'm honestly like not even going to touch it, not even going to log in, because you're supposed to have, you should buy a copy for every person who's learning from it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was excited about that, because I was like, here's a creative that I trust, who I know is putting a ton of effort into this, who is really knowledgeable. So it's kind of about finding those people in the industry, that are putting out that content that's literally gold, like that is worth every penny that you're spending on it.
If you already love what they're saying for free, like, and they have a paid offering, I mean, it's probably going to be a freaking gold mine. You know what I mean? They're just giving you like little sprinkles, but you can get the whole jackpot if you buy their course. Like, I think when we first did our Business Sense for Creatives, which was formerly Biz Birthday Bash Party 2018, right? That was 2018.
Yeah, 2018.
The 3 webinars on pricing, productivity, and people, which is about like finding clients. They were so jam-packed with such good info, and we only charged $47 for it. And I was like, anyone who doesn't buy this is an idiot. Like, no offense. I knew I would say that on this episode, but it's just like, I couldn't believe like the amount of stuff we were giving away. And I was like, why are we doing this? We raised the price. I mean, still only $97, but like, I guess I see it from our perspective, like how much good stuff is in there. Like, if I had that starting out about the pricing thing, like, holy bananas, would have saved me so much time. So
right, totally.
I guess I'm just getting on a little soapbox here and being like, listen, you guys, like, the paid courses are so much more valuable than the free things that you're getting. So, like, don't be afraid to buy the thing and, like, make more of an investment later on by making more money because you have the skills to do it. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, that's my little tangent on that. And then it was really sad because some people bought it and then didn't watch it, and then they'll come ask us questions. And I'm like, hey, did you watch the thing? And they're like, oh, yeah, I bought it, but I didn't watch it. I'm like, well, why not? Like, why are you asking me when you could just go watch it? Like,
and then on the other hand, there's people that we know have watched it multiple times and continue to, like, take notes on it. I feel like I need to go and watch them again.
That's what I was just thinking. Like, I want to go back and watch it because I feel like we literally put everything we knew in that. Like, it was. Yeah. I mean.
By the way, if you guys are like listening to this right now and you have no idea what the heck we're talking about, you can just go to bizbirthdaybash.com/2018-bundle. And that's where Business Sense for Creatives lives. Like, our little, like, it's almost like a crash course, which is what we call it. It's the recordings of the webinars that we offered, but even though it's like not live anymore, it's still so freaking valuable, and you get like the downloads and the freebies that come with it. It was a gold mine.
It really was a gold mine. Like, I mean, and I know we took, not saying our courses are better, but we did take a course, both of us, before we were friends. We took a course at the very beginning of our businesses about like starting a calligraphy business or something. And it was not that great. I will tell you, we did not learn that much from it. So you just gotta be wary of like, you know, what kind of content is it gonna be? Like, if you have questions about whether a course is right for you, definitely email the person doing it and be like, hey, this is what I'm hoping to get out of it. Is it gonna cover this? And if they're like, well, it's actually gonna cover X, Y, Z, then maybe it's not the right fit. Like, you know, do your research before you just like, you know, throw money at something, or just buy it, but make sure you watch it.
Yeah, that one was such an interesting situation. I think it was there was a messy on like their end too. Like, there was a lot of stuff that went down with that
behind the scenes planning.
Like 20, that was probably 2016, to be honest. Like,
yeah, that was
2016.
Yeah. totally.
Oh man, all of the things. Okay, I'm trying to like look at the other things that I've personally invested in for my business. I've done a couple in-person things. So let's talk about these because I know you've done some as well. I know you said you were like, I don't know if I consider this an investment or not, but for me, I attended your workshop in Tennessee. Yes. I know this has come up quite a few times, but I considered that more of like a fun personal investment, but it was totally like a business expense because I was paying for learning watercolor skills, which was awesome.
Do you feel like you learned something for your business at my class?
Yeah, I mean, I think I was more like busy just having fun, like being there and like being your best friend.
I know it was really fun, and then meeting Kelsey and Bethany, like so many fun people were there. Oh my gosh, it was just a great time. Like
and so those in-person things, it really has to be the right situation for me too, like being introverted, which you can, I'm sure, attest to with some of your stories. But for the other thing I did in person recently was the composed styling workshop in Birmingham, Alabama. And Jessica Hinton of Empress Stationery did that in tandem with two other ladies. It was a designer and a wedding planner. I was obsessed. I loved it. I was the first person. I wanted to go so bad. Yeah, I was the first person to buy my ticket to that. So I think I got it the $300 rate, and like the full price was $375, which I would have happily paid as well. Like it was well worth that. And that was more of like an investment in like that networking and like self-care of a business, because even though there were certain things about like social media that I already knew or didn't necessarily, you know, like get a fresh perspective on, it was still so worth it to just like be in that environment and just like get to talk to other like-minded business owners, which was really cool.
Yeah, I did my in-person things would be Creative at Heart conference that I invested in the second year of business, which I'd always wanted to go to Creative at Heart, but even before I had a small business, like I just always knew about it, and I was like, that would be so cool. Maybe if I had a business one day, I'd go. And then my friends were like, there's only 3 seats left, and I was like, I'm going. So bought that, and it was awesome. Like I missed that it wasn't like super stationery specific. Like, yeah, we had breakout groups or whatever, but it was, you know, more generic, more general for creative businesses all around, which is totally cool. And I met some amazing people, but
I've had a lot of friends say that they go specifically kind of to network and make connections.
Yeah, I think it definitely has that vibe. I mean, you learn a lot too, but I feel like I listened to so many podcasts, listened to so many webinars, read so many books that I felt like I had a good handle on like the general business stuff, you know? So I was like, in that time, I was needing more niche kind of focus things. And we did have time in breakout groups, which was really cool with other stationers. And that was like, honestly, some of my favorite parts was just being able to talk to them. But they were such short amounts of time, like only like an hour. So we couldn't really get as much in because there were so many people in the group, you know. But still, that was really cool. And I did it at a second conference. I think I did this one before Creative at Heart. I did Pursuit Conference, which was in Tampa. And let's see.
Did I know you at that point? Because I don't remember that.
I don't know. This was a much smaller conference, and I was like, it's in Tampa, and it was like Christian entrepreneurs. So I went because I wanted to meet Emily Lay and Shay Cochran of SC Stock Shop, and they were speaking, and I was like, well, and it wasn't that expensive, so that one was like my first creative conference. That was really cool too, but it's still like more general business stuff. But man, I learned so much from that one. Let's see. One of my favorite speakers was Mary Morantz. She's a photographer, and she spoke about pricing, and it was like mind blowing to me because I was kind of knew her in my business, and it was just awesome. So that was pretty cool. I definitely do like in-person events, but I would be very selective about, because they are expensive. Like you got to pay for your, you know, travel expenses.
And you have to be in the right mood. Like, what if you're having a bad day? Then it's like money wasted because you're like, oh, do I want to be here?
Remember, I did have a bad day at Creative at Heart, you guys.
Yes, so, I know.
Funny side tangent. I got super, super sick. And I was just like, you know, you're with all these girls. They're all so pretty, and they're all amazing business owners. And I'm like trying to look cute in my dress. And I was like, oh my God, I think I'm just gonna like vomit right now. And literally, oh my, I don't even want to tell the story on the podcast anyway.
No,
it's so bad.
You don't have to tell it.
I want to tell the story. It was a really rough time for me, and I'm pretty sure everyone in downtown Raleigh thought I was like a total drunk girl, but I wasn't. I just was sick. Okay.
Hey, Cammie, just a side note, your AC came back on.
Oh my god.
And I can hear it.
Okay.
Do you want to go to try to turn it off and then come back?
Yeah. Hold on a second. Okay, I turned it totally off, but I guess it takes a second. I don't know.
Okay, we'll just wait.
Yeah,
just make
it's
sure
weird.
that Alex doesn't turn it back on because
he's out in the garage. Yeah, it's weird because it's normally on, but I guess with this one it's picking up more. I don't know.
I know. That's why I'm like, well, so Zencaster has this like echo canceling thing that it does with the mics, which I think silences a lot of the background noise.
Weird. Okay, it's off now.
Yes, perfect. Okay, sounds so much better.
Anyway, no need to talk more about my story. So, what were we saying?
Yeah.
Creative Heart Conference.
Anyway, so in-person investments might not necessarily be the best depending on your personality, how you're feeling. Don't want to have a sick day like Cami was talking about because then everyone's just miserable. But I know something that crosses people's minds all the time is, what if I want these amazing resources and what if I want to invest in my business but I can't afford it right now? So what do people do in that instance, Cami?
Okay, here's my thing about that. Like, you don't have to go buy Amy Porterfield's $2,000 course to actually invest in your business. But, investing in something that's $97, I think that's really doable for everyone. And here's what I think about that. I know, like, it might be a stretch for some people, and for other people, it's just like, okay, I'm just going to buy that, like, easy, no worries at all. But if you are really serious about your business, you need to be able to invest in some of these things that are going to move you forward. And maybe it's just like, you're not going to take a profit that month. Maybe you're just going to be like, okay, whatever I sell this month, I'm going to put that towards a course so I can grow my business further and continue to make more money. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, you have to kind of allot your funds. Maybe you skip Starbucks for 2 months so you can afford to join, a membership site like the A to Z directory or whatever.
Yay.
Like, yay! Like, there's always ways around it, and you got to be able to prioritize. Like, I get there's family issues, financial issues, like we all have those. But, like those crazy things aside, you really have to prioritize where you're putting your money in your business and like what's going to make your business run easier. So,
yeah, I agree. Yeah. And I also think too, in terms of like investments in finances, if you are actually doing a side hustle right now, this is the perfect time because you don't have the pressure of being full-time yet.
Yes.
So take some time to think like, okay, I'm still on my side hustle. I still have my day job that I'm making regular income from. When you make money in your business and your side hustle, you can use some of that to put back into, investing in some sort of educational resource or something in your business. Because Cami's right, like that'll only continue to further your business, to grow you as a person, to give you more skills as long as you're willing to put in the time and the effort, because there is that osmosis. There's no like magic osmosis. Yeah. Like you have to, you can't just buy it. Like you have to actually like do the work that, people have created for courses. But it's like that short-term investment in cost is really worth the long-term ROI. So Cami wrote down here, you can't afford not to invest in your business.
Yeah, I mean, you really can't. Like, especially, yeah, you're right. At the very beginning, when you have that side hustle, like you're just building it up. Like your business doesn't have to necessarily launch and be profitable at first. Like, maybe you're not, I wouldn't, like, I firmly believe in running a debt-free business. Like, don't take out loans and stuff to just, like, invest in courses, But, like, be strategic. And you're like, hey, I don't have any idea how to digitize my work. Like, that's something that's going to be crucial if you're really going to grow your business and scale it in any sort of way. You need to take a course in digitizing your work, whether it's a $20 one from Skillshare or a $300 one from who knows where else, but like you got to figure out.
Or free on YouTube.
Or free on YouTube.
There are videos.
Too. Yeah, like if you can't invest financially, you can also invest time. Like that's another thing.
Yeah, commitment and motivation and effort, that goes into your business is an investment as well.
Right. There are so many things you can learn quickly. Like I know most of my digitizing was learned just by time and spending. I'm a learn by doing kind of person. So like the Modern Calligraphy Summit, the digitizing class just was like, okay, great. Now I know what these things mean on the side of Photoshop, but like watercolor is a little bit of a different animal. So learning all those on my own, but like I had to have that foundation in place to even know where to begin.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Let's talk about 2 other ways you can invest in your business besides courses.
Yes.
Because we have this whole list of things here.
Yeah, we've covered a bunch of them already, but yeah, we have a whole list.
Like Cami already talked about books and podcasts. These are things you can dedicate your time to. That like a book is really low cost, low threshold, or go to the library. Just get a library card and like check stuff out.
Or the Goodwill actually has a ton of awesome books, and they're like 99 cents. So.
Oh, yeah. Another great idea. So those are like real low threshold cost are free. Same with YouTube. Skillshare, you can get 2 months free depending on like the link you have. I have a link to give for 2 months free. Do you have one of those, Cami?
No.
Okay. Well, we could put mine in the show notes so that if you guys want 2 free months of Skillshare, you can get that.
Yeah, and then you can just pack it in 2 months. Like, you know what you could learn in 2 months? You could become like the next Anna Bond of Rapid Paper Co. in 2 months. Like,
there's a ton of awesome stuff on Skillshare, and I personally know creatives that teach on there that do a wonderful job. And even after the 2 free months, I think their plans are like $10 a month. I can't remember. It's still super low threshold in a site that has a ton of resources. Let's see. We have some other good ones on here. Like
yeah, there's
software.
Also okay, so also on Skillshare there's like a site like Lynda, Lynda, that's like other courses. What is it, like Udemy? Is that something?
Yeah, Udemy. Teacher, yeah, I guess those are more of like the private courses.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so also free webinars. I mean, I've watched so many free webinars. I just put them on the background while I'm like doing stuff sometimes. Like,
yeah, I've totally done that before.
Yeah, I think I'm kind of out of my business podcast webinar phase, which I'm thankful about because I probably drove myself insane. But like, I learned so much from free webinars. Like, there's always something you can take away from anything. Like, I wasn't just taking webinars from other stationers. Like, they were all different types of businesses. Like, you can learn from anyone. It's awesome. Okay, so also software, investing in Dubsado and Adobe products. Let's see.
Investing in good materials. Like, I know your paintbrushes are not cheap.
Yes, good materials make things way better for you. A good printer. Yeah, gotta have one of those. Let's see. Hiring someone to help you. I need this. Help me, Jesus.
I am frankly shocked that I beat Cami on that front, to be entirely honest.
I hired someone for a day. Remember? My little Etsy person.
Yeah, you hired them for a couple things. Now you just have to make them more essential.
I know. I'm a control freak. I'm like, no one can do it like I can. No one.
It is really hard, I have to say. We'll have to do an episode about that at some point. The relinquishing control and just making someone kind of your mini-me to carry on what you do.
And also, I'm I just want them to come in and just do it. I don't have to do the teaching, and I know that's impossible. So
trust me, you'll enjoy teaching. I've had so much fun.
You're right.
Helping them kind of figure it all out, because you're also teaching them, they're learning from you in the process, which I just kind of love that relationship is there, at least with my VA, with the girl that I'm hiring to help me do some blogs and email stuff, which is just really exciting, because I think I'm starting to develop a perma headache from the pressure of developing so much content. I was I need someone to help me.
I know. That's how I am too. And remember, I went and got coffee with Cheyenne from Strokes of Sunshine. Go follow her. She's awesome. And it was just really fun, and talking to her, I could tell she was really interested in learning about the processes and things. It wouldn't be a burden to try to teach her something, and I was I kind of want to be your mentor, so just come over anytime. So yeah, maybe that could turn into something. I know she was kind of interested and put it out there, I would love to work for you maybe, but I'm also I also feel bad because I would want to pay someone and I would want to make it sustainable. She still works a full-time job, you know what I mean? So
right, yeah, that's tricky.
When could she? I don't know. So that's anyway, that's
and that's obviously much farther along in your businesses, guys. That Cami and I are even at the point of thinking about this, or putting some of this into place. But the other minute ways too of investing in yourself is give yourself time to practice. So whether that's watercolor, calligraphy, anything you're working on, and give yourself time to keep yourself healthy. So for Cami, I know she loves the gym. Honestly,
love the gym.
She is investing in herself and her business by spending the time there, because that keeps her healthy and it keeps her happy.
Honestly, if I don't go to the gym, I would lose my mind. It's the one time my brain shuts off from work, and I love it.
I wish I had that. I
was
wish that
thinking,
my
I was
brain could just shut off from like life in general.
You just gotta go to the gym. Yeah, your brain never ever shuts off.
It's horrible.
I know. I was thinking, I was like, I wish I had another hobby besides calligraphy. And I was like, oh, or watercolor, whatever I do. And then I was realizing, I'm like, oh, maybe the gym is my hobby. Like,
the gym is totally your hobby.
Like, I like read about stuff all the time. Like, I'm always reading about fitness and how to get better, nutrition. Like, I love that. But yeah, so that's totally my hobby. Okay, other ways to invest in your business, giving and volunteering. Like this, I loved giving back and volunteering my time like I do with the Walk for Life. And what else do I do? I donate to a lot of silent auctions with other schools around the area. Like pretty much if anyone emails me and was like, hey, we need a donation, like I will give that. Like that makes me feel good about my business. And it's a great way to like get further exposure too. Like,
and exposure on your terms because you're like, I'm donating this because I'm really passionate about what you're doing. Yeah. And so if you get a little bit of kickback from that from people, you know, starting to recognize your brand, that's awesome. Obviously not the point, but it's still like awesome regardless.
It's a great perk of it. So yeah, and it just kind of reminds you that you can do bigger things with your business than just, you know, the business side of things. Like there is like another impact you can make as a creative business owner, which is cool.
Yeah. I feel like we're totally going to talk about that on another episode too. We've talked about this of like as an entrepreneur, like it feels super self-serving a lot of the time. Yeah. Like I'm doing this for me. Like, how do we not make my business like completely about like me and think about myself all the time?
Looking at the bigger picture of the impact you can have. So
yeah. Okay.
Definitely an episode.
Let's take a second to talk about the resources we offer. We don't have to go super in depth, but because we've spent time talking about like all these things we've invested in.
Shameless plug.
I feel like it is time to like give our shameless plug. We already talked about the Biz Birthday Bash 2018 bundle, formerly called Business Sense for Creatives.
No, formerly Biz Birthday Bash bundle. Now it's Business Sense for Creatives. You had it flipped.
I did.
But it's okay. I fixed it.
Oh my gosh. I was using a different version of formally. Like does that make sense? Yeah, like instead of like saying traditional formal, like now it's formally called. Oh my gosh, that's so confusing.
Formerly. That is so funny. I was like, what is this?
I was like, what are we doing? Okay. Anyways, we kind of like pitched that one earlier in the episode. So you guys know where to find that one. These will be linked in the show notes. Cami, talk about the directory because that's another big one.
Then we have our amazing baby called the A to Z directory, which is a membership site that has all of our favorite printers, resources, ribbon vendors, temporary tattoo vendors, how to get your invitations printed, everything, the whole 9 yards. And that also has a private Facebook group. And that is just bizbirthdaybash.com/directory to join. And it is so epic. Like if you don't know where to get your stuff printed, you definitely need to be in here.
Yeah, because I love all the discussions we have in the Facebook group. People say that it's like worth the price alone just to be in a community of people that are doing the same thing and have paid to be there because I feel like it's different.
They're invested in it. Hey.
Yes, they're invested. They paid to be there. It's a really, really active Facebook group.
When you pay to be a part of something, you take it more seriously. We've talked about this. I think we talked about this in the A to Z directory episode. But yeah, when you pay for something, you definitely are going to value it more. So yeah, this definitely has that there.
I think
the contracts.
Yeah, obviously the contract is the last big one. I don't think I had anything else to say about the directory. I thought I might have needed to, but I think I'm good.
Okay, let me know.
And the contract, we have our formal little like insert that we recorded that we'll definitely like add, but of course we can talk about it as well.
Yeah, we can do whatever we want. It's our podcast.
Okay, you talk about it.
Okay, I can tell you're just getting crazy. Okay, so we also have the custom stationery contract, which is a game changer if you design. I should be an announcer.
I know.
If you design any sort of custom stationery, custom wedding invitations, and you're like, does my contract work? I don't know. Then you should just breathe easy, buy the custom stationery contract, and cover your booty and your biz. And that is bizbirthdaybash.com/contract. So see, all of these are super. Actually, if you bought all three of these things, we should make a bundle. It would be like the best way to start off your business. Like, you have your contract, you know where to get everything printed, you have a community, and then you have the pricing, how to find clients, and how to be productive with your time all at once. Like,
oh
boom.
My gosh, yeah. I don't even know how we would bundle that. It's an amazing idea.
I
but
know,
they also are like the payments through different like platforms.
I know. I was thinking about this like 2 nights ago, and I was like, if we did this, and I was like, a Zap, and then, it's way too complicated.
That's true.
Yeah.
Okay, one other thing, guys, too. We're being like super secret and vague about this at this point, but Cami and I oh my god, that Google. Cami and I will be announcing something in June that's going to be happening later this year in the fall. So we're giving you guys the heads up right now that if you want to save for our next resource, you should start doing so ASAP, because we are planning something big and awesome.
It's time to start making your coffee at home, guys, because this one's going to be worth it, all right? You don't need Starbucks. Just make it at home. It's going to be fine.
You've got this, everybody.
Save your pesos for this amazing thing. I'm so sweaty just thinking about it because I'm so excited. It's like the best thing ever.
I know. It's going to be really cool.
I know. Okay.
Too cool for school. Anyways, we're going to go ahead and like wrap up this part before we fall apart, because we're clearly already like at the end of our rope.
Okay, so what else do we talk about?
Leave us a review, y'all. If you like this, us being crazy and weird and sharing all our business advice, tips, and tricks in a totally nonsensical way. Just kidding. We hope you get something out of it. Leave us a rating and a review on iTunes. We would love to hear from you. We love reading them at the beginning of episodes. And you guys are just awesome. It quite honestly like keeps us going, because obviously the podcast isn't a paid resource. It's free for you all. So our payment is the happy reviews we receive.
Yes. We need words of affirmation. We love it.
Oh, totally.
Especially Elizabeth. She really needs it. Just kidding.
Oh my god, I hate you.
You love me.
But she's actually kind of right. So.
I know. See, that's why it hit you hard. It hit you right in the feels, because it was true. Okay, I think that is it for today's episode, and we will see you next week.
Bye.
Peace out, rainbow trout.
Hey there, fellow stationers. Are you creating custom invitations and still sending a lackluster contract that's hacked together with Google searches and generic templates? We've got you.
We've created a custom stationery contract written for stationers by stationers, and it is lawyer reviewed and approved. #LegalRockstar. The custom stationery contract covers every stationery snafu, protects you and your client's interests, and sets up an expectation of professionalism. We've combined our previous contracts as well as years of experience to bring you a contract that covers your booty and your biz. So become a put-together pro and breathe a sigh of relief knowing that you have a contract that is easy to understand and avoids confusing legal jargon.
The custom stationery contract is only $227, which is half of what you'd expect to pay anywhere else, and it's written by 2 gals who have seen it all.
Spoiler alert, it's us.
It's time for you to do things right. Go to bizbirthdaybash.com/contract to purchase and download your copy today.